Holtz-Eakin is former CBO director and president of the American Action Forum, and he joins us now to break it all down. What do you think of that number? $23 billion in estimated total savings. I mean, that's got to be, present value of, the savings over time or whatever it is. But it's a big number. What do you think?
It's an enormous accomplishment. I don't think people appreciate what was going on under the Obama administration. There was an additional $110 billion a year of regulatory costs, and the Trump administration has simply shut that down and is now going the other direction. It's an enormous accomplishment, and it's one of the reasons we're seeing small business confidence at 35-year highs, and one of the reasons we've seen GDP growth rates steadily ramp up.
It is one of those things that only business owners sort of appreciate, and everybody else who's out there thinks of as he's wrecking the environment, he's risking children's lives, we're all out there licking lead paint. I mean, that's sort of the way other people look at it. How do you tell people, who aren't business owners and don't feel the cost of it, how do you explain it to them?
What they did was actually put each of the agencies on a regulatory budget. And they said, look, you can have no increase in your regulatory costs. That doesn't mean you can't have regulations that cost money. If you do, find something else that will save some money. And what it has done is produce some introspection on the part of the agencies. They're paying attention to what regulations cost. They're finding things that they don't need that are burdensome, and they're getting rid of them. And that, as a result, means that you can get to the things that people want: safety from lead paint, clean water, clean air, but do it in a way that doesn't burden the household and burden the business. And that's a sensible objective.
Oh, my God. It's almost like running a business or dealing with what you have to do as a family. When you sit there and say, we have this other expenditure coming up, we're going to have to cut somewhere else. It's the same thing he's doing with budgets, saying, look, everybody, you got to cut your budget by 5%. That's a normal thing that happens at companies. Why wasn't the government ever doing this before?
The most amazing thing about this is, for the very first time, I mean literally the very first time, the federal government is going to look at an old regulation and ask the question, is it still a good idea? Up until now, they might ask it once at the time they did the regulation, say, is this a good idea? Should we do this? But never do you go back and check old ones. Now they're going to systematically check the old ones because they're going to need to find the savings. That's a sea change in the way we think about the burden of the government.
Okay, so this is the stupid way that government usually does business. Is this a possible approach to, I mean, there are other insurmountable problems. I mean, obviously there's the debt and the deficit, and there's, all the built-in automatic spending that goes on. What about health care? I mean, could you take this approach with health care?
So the 5% cut across the board is the real question is what budget? If it's just the operating budget of each of the agencies, that's about $68 billion. As you know, the deficit's $800 billion. So that's not a big number. If it includes the $2.7 trillion of mandatory spending that's Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the like, then that's a big number. And that's going to be a big push, big lift for those agencies.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's the next place to go. Doug, thank you. Appreciate your time.